Now, I talked about the difference between off your stomach versus on your side. And here's where you're learning, when you start learning what is the proper degree of rotation, it's always surprising how little. How you're much more focused on controlling rotation rather than making it happen. When you rotate the proper amount, all right, that you're rotating less than you think you should, and you spend a lot of time learning to control it. So that's what that second one is. And the idea here is, in that exercise, all you're thinking about is, I want to clear that shoulder, I want to control the rotation, and the combination of arms back and body slightly rotated is where you begin tuning. That's the first exercise in which you begin this process of tuning the spinal stabilizers. Now, what do the spinal stabilizers do? Two things. One is they allow you to hold the alignment in the drag-reducing side of your body while the other side of the body is coming forward to become the drag-reducing side. And they also, when you do a weight shift, they connect the arm to the power produced by the weight shift. You don't want to use arm muscles to propel because they fatigue. If you use arm muscles to hold your place or to hold the shape of the arm and then use a weight shift to propel, that is a lot less power requirement, work requirement, than if you are moving water back with your arm, all right? So spinal stabilizers hold the alignment and connect you to rotation. So they're pretty important. In the first place you start the tuning process is in that last exercise. Then, having learned that, you extend your body line, and you're doing something else that reduces drag, because a longer body line reduces wave drag. And I'll tell you a funny little anecdote about reducing wave drag. All right? So off the stomach, and then extend the arm on the track I imprinted in the first exercise. And I'm gonna memorize. So you see right there, what have I got? I've got my fingers separated. Later, when I'm swimming whole stroke, I want to have a hand that never is stiff, never is tense. All right, so I've got my fingers separated. How is my hand getting into position there? I'm not putting it, I'm letting it go. If you just put your arm out. All right, just put your arm out. Now close your fingers. Close your fingers. Do you want to do that for the next hour? Okay, now just let them go. As soon as you let them go, what does your hand do? It drops into position, all right? This is one of the reasons we don't want to have a stiff hand. One is our hand muscles get tired if it's stiff, all right? Second, we found by experimentation, you don't gain any more purchase if you stiffen your hand. If you relax it and you have separation, you get the same amount of grip. All right? And the other thing is, as soon as you separate the fingers and relax the hand, it drops into the position where it's most advantageous when you first apply pressure. All right? It's a little thing, but whoever stops to take the time to think about that detail and then think about how am I going to turn that into a habit so that I'm thinking about 5 other things, I still do that. All right? This is where you start formation of one little habit that will be added to dozens of others when you complete the whole stroke. All right, so I was going to tell you a funny little story about wave drag. All right, so remember all the fuss about the tech suits? All right, that they are now banning? All right, there are 3 forms of drag. There's form drag, which is the shape of your body. You know, if a hip is sticking out or a leg splays or something like that, or your head's up, that's form drag. All right, second form of drag is wave drag, and that's the energy that you expend that makes waves rather than moving you forward. All right, and the third is friction drag. Of the 3, the least significant is friction drag. And do you know what those suits addressed? A little bit of form drag because they held stuff in. All right, mostly friction drag, the least significant form of drag, and all that fuss. All right, over friction drag, when people were not paying much attention to wave drag, all right, and what you can do to reduce wave drag. So the more you lengthen your body, all right, the less wave drag is. It's one of the things you can do to reduce wave drag is to lengthen your body, all right? So that's why this business of extending your body line and starting a circuit where an instinct is not to push back, but to extend the body line. The other hand is pushing back, but this is on the radar screen and that one is off. Not all the time, but long enough to form a habit. Okay? So extend the body line. And I spend a lot of time just doing a really simple exercise like this. This is not like laps, all right? This is just 8 yards, 6 yards, something like that, where I do that over and over and over, all right? And what I'm trying to do is find the right X and Y axis for my hand. There is a right spot, a correct spot for my hand, all right? The x-axis is going to be determined by the fact that I want it in line with my shoulder. I don't want it in front of my nose. All right? Why don't I want it in front of my nose? Because when I bring things toward the center line, it has the effect of kind of bringing my whole body mass to the center line. All right? If I swing my arm toward the center line, my whole body tends to roll in that direction and follow it. And I brought all my body mass along to a narrow line. All right? I'm already in a very unstable medium, and I've made myself far less stable, all right, by bringing everything to the center line. Well, most people bring their arms to the center line. Virtually everybody does that. To do something else is a choice. You have to make that choice and then form a new habit. So it's this formation of circuits, first in the mind, then in the muscles. All right? So the x-axis is determined by that line, and the y-axis is determined by, I want some slope between my elbow and my wrist. I don't want it flat. The reason I don't want it flat is because if that line is flat, I know from experience my feet drop. All right? If I have some slope, my feet rise. If my feet rise, I don't have to kick. I'd rather not kick if I don't have to. And when I say kick, I mean my legs move, as you saw in that video that started, but I want to have to be doing this to correct something that I could correct by relaxing my hand. All right? Then my feet rise. All right? So I want a little bit of slope here. I want my fingers below my wrist. I want my wrist below my elbow, my fingers below my wrist. That gives me my x-axis. So I've got an x and y, that gives me my y-axis. I've got an x and y axis. Once I mark the x and y coordinates of my right hand, my left hand, I spend a ton of time memorizing those coordinates and visualizing a target, and in a variety of ways, sometimes just this, sometimes in some of the drills, sometimes in stroking, visualizing those targets and make sure every single time my hand went forward, it went to that exact spot. All right, and that's what you see here with the X and the Y target. Now here I'm just moving my hand up to flatten. You look what happens to my head and legs. I move it back down and the legs come up. All right, why would I want to spend energy when I can save it? All right, and then after I've worked all that, then I do a lot of repetitions going from Superman, where I'm imprinting the idea, don't kick, relax, and then moving into that skate position. Lots of repetitions, from Superman to right skate, Superman to left skate, dynamically hitting the target I set up for myself and imprinted and identified in the previous exercise. So the things you see me do when swimming was formed from a lot of very short, very targeted, very focused repeats with a specific skill goal. All right? And because my hand goes to that place, when I do a weight shift, there's a pretty good chance I'm going to move past it. So you can see my hand every time is going to the exact spot I've spent so much time memorizing and creating a circuit for. All right? And then I get in open water, and you see me around all those people who haven't taken the time to do this, and every time I take a stroke, my body moves forward, and their hands are moving back, and their bodies aren't moving forward, and you can see that. All right? So that's the outcome of these things.